Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
Yes, I'm seeing my
Okay,
information.
very good. Thank you. So we want to welcome Dr. David Lee Shenping to our program. And he is the author of Awaken to Your Divinity. His topic is Creating Your Emotional Fitness, the Missing Link to Spiritual Growth. And a little further information, Dr. David Lee Shenping is the author, as we said, of Awakening to Your Divinity, Creating Your Emotional Fitness, the Missing Link to Spiritual Growth, and Master Your Emotions, Transform Your Life. David is an adjunct associate professor of health and physiology at Maharishi International University in Fairfield, Iowa, the United States, a board-certified holistic health and strategic intervention coach, as well as a relationship and marriage educator. He is also a certified advanced technique teacher of transcendental meditation, trained in Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, and marmotherapy. For over 25 years, he has helped thousands of individuals unfold their full mental, physical, and spiritual potential. And we welcome you, Doctor.
It's a pleasure to be here and to be part of this global conference on spirituality. My talk today focuses mainly on emotional aspect, which I feel is not taken into consideration quite often when we speak about spiritual development. What I've realized is that almost everything that we do in life is based on our emotions, how we feel. Depending on how we feel at any time in the day is determine the type of activities that we have in life. So our emotions basically are the basis of everything that we do or want to do in life. For instance, if you got up this morning and you were not feeling well, then automatically you may find yourself being a little depressed, under the weather, unhappy, and this could color your relationships and your activities in life. So when we think about spiritual development, we also have to take into consideration how we are emotionally. Why? Because at the basis of life, of everyone's life, in terms of their own spirituality and own spiritual development, is the emotional aspect. Life itself is an emotional expression. And whatever we do in life has that as its basis. So we go out and we make money, we raise children, we change jobs, we gain an education, whatever it is that we're doing, basically is for one thing. We all want to be happy in life. We all want to grow. We want to be more and more. And this is the nature of life. It is natural for us to be like that. This is natural because our life itself is born of an infinite field of creativity, intelligence, and happiness that we find deep within ourselves. And how we say that is because for thousands of years, we have been told this by the great seers of the past and even of the present. They have spoken about a field of Satchit Anand. Anand simply means happiness. You have heard about Nirvana, the kingdom of heaven within. Everyone has said that we are born and made in the image and likeness of God. And it is those qualities of God within ourselves that I term as your divine nature or your divinity. In life, our divine nature expresses itself through our central nervous system, the brain physiology, and the billions of neurons that connect all areas of our physiology. And our creative energies and intelligence is flowing through this pathway that has been created in a physical form, which we call our body and our mind and ourself, so that we can explore and develop areas of our own creative energies in this physical world. But as we do that, we tend to forget our nature itself. Spirituality or spiritual development is really embracing and living 200% of life. 100% what we call inner fulfillment or happiness or inner peace, and 100% outer dynamic achievement. For too long, what has happened in life is that the outer aspect of life has been the focus. And when we only focus on the outer aspect of life, many people feel that if they are successful in life, they will be happy and they will be fulfilled. But having worked with many very, very successful people, I have seen that this is not true. Yes, outer success in life does bring some level of satisfaction and happiness, but it doesn't create lasting peace and fulfillment in life. So when we are thinking in terms of our growing in terms of spiritual development, we have to think how we can nourish both the outer and inner aspect of life. The inner aspect of life, that field of Satchit Anand, is really the state of our divine nature. We are born to be blissful. We are born to be happy. We are born to express the fullness of life. And that is why when we are looking to create life on the outside, in terms of material life, we want more and more and more. And that search for more and more is really the search for fulfillment or happiness in life. But nothing outside ourselves can give us happiness and the peace that we seek, because that is already available within ourselves. And that's why the ancients have said, be still, turn the attention within, allow the mind to settle down to its least excited state and become aware that I am that. That meaning I am that field of pure, eternal bliss consciousness. When we do not pay attention to that, then our search for happiness and our inability to fulfill our desires, sometimes in socially acceptable means, lead to conflict in life. And every time we find that we desire something and we are not getting it, then it leads to frustration, it leads to unhappiness. This unhappiness creates imbalance within the physiology. It creates negative thinking. It affects all areas of our life. So our emotional well-being is really very essential, not just for career and our relationship, but also for our happiness and our spiritual growth. When we are only focused on developing the outer values of life, then we end up in frustration and anxiety and tension, because nothing outside ourselves will bring lasting fulfillment. The nice car that you wanted, the BMW or the fancy house, after living in it for a while or driving around for a while, it's just another car. Other people may admire it, but for you, it's just another thing. The mind now wants to look for something else that will bring it happiness. Why? Because that basic emotion, which is happiness, is at the core of our being. And when we are not in tune or in harmony with that basic or essential emotion, then disharmony, strife take place in our life. Every time we have a negative emotion, whether caused by internal or external factor, it is actually moving us away from our divine self. And that's why we feel uncomfortable. Every time we have a positive emotion, every time we feel love or we feel happiness or we feel exuberant, It brings us closer to a divine nature. And that's why we feel comfortable. So how can we achieve balanced emotion? Well, the first thing to do is to know how to allow the mind to settle down from its very active, gotta do things, to a state of silence, to a state of deep, deep silence. And when that happens, if it is done correctly, then the brain physiology falls in phase. And all areas of the brain become very coherent or orderly, while at the same time the physiology gains deep rest. This field of pure creative intelligence, or Satchitanand, or the kingdom of heaven within, whatever we want to call it, this field is our birthright. We are born to enjoy that in life. But the stresses and strains of life, running after happiness and running after to achieve this and that, even though that may be important in terms of daily living, tends to move us away and create blocks in our physiology, which we know as stress. And what stress does when we are under stress too much time, it shuts down the prefrontal cortex, which is just behind the forehead, which is responsible for moral reasoning, intuition, decision making, and all the qualities that define us as a human being. And when that shuts down, then the amygdala of the brain, which is sometimes called the primitive brain or the fight or flight reaction of the brain, tends to take over. And then we become very reactive. And that causes a lot of negative or stress hormones to flood our physiology. So we need to have systems in place. We need to be able to know how to allow the attention to go there in a systematic, not forced manner. But I've been fortunate. I studied under a great master over 25 years, where he taught a simple technique called transcendental meditation. This is Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And in that technique, he showed how any individual from any walk of life could allow the attention to settle down. It didn't matter the age of the person. It didn't matter their intellectual capacity, because it had nothing to do with the intellect. It had to do with allowing the mind to go back to its source. What is the source of the mind? That field of Satchitanand. And that is where the source of thought also is. And how we can say that? Because thoughts have been coming into our mind since we know ourselves. So where they're all coming from must be an infinite source of energy, creativity, and intelligence. Why? Because it is energy that moves things. And we think, and we have intelligence behind our thought, and we create from what we think. So within us, every one of us is this infinite field of creativity, intelligence, and energy. When we are feeling energetic and creative, then we tend to be happy. And that's why it's called a field of Anand. So once the mind is given the correct direction, it naturally goes there. And when it does that, it puts us in harmony with all the laws of nature that operate everything in the universe. Modern science and quantum field theory have shown us that underlying everything in the universe is a field of infinite energy. And the human physiology, like everything else, is constantly emerging from that field. So both from modern and ancient science, we see that we are made of this universal energy. We are all children of the same universal field of energy. And that, on that level, we are all united. But how can we create this state of unity consciousness in the world that this forum is all about? Well, we have to create individuals who have created unity within themselves. who have grown or expanded their consciousness to experience and live that state of unity consciousness. Because people are generally only living 3 states of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and sleeping state, that we know of. But what about 4th state, transcendental? What about cosmic consciousness? What about God consciousness? And of course, unity consciousness. And these are states to be lived. These are states to unfold from within ourselves. And to do that requires refinement of mind, body, emotions. When our emotions are negative, when we have a lot of negative thoughts, when we are feeling frustrated in life, when we cannot solve our daily problems because of lack of use of our creative intelligence, then we suffer in life. And that creates disharmony in life. So in order to achieve the fullness of life, in order to live unity consciousness, in order to create a world that is living in a state of unity consciousness, we have to create individuals in the world who are living in that state of unity consciousness. And how we can do that? Simple, because the individual is the unit of society. And when we want to create a green forest, we have to create green trees. So when we want to create a peaceful society and a society in unity consciousness, we have to create individuals who are living and expressing that in life. But I'd like to say that, there are close to about 6 billion people, or perhaps a little more in the world. It is almost impossible to get everybody to do this because the world is as it is. People are existing on different levels of consciousness or awareness in the world. Fortunately, the ancients have given us a technique. They have said that if only a small portion of the world's population transcend, then that will be enough to create order in the world. It is said that if 1% alone does it, that's enough. And this is seen in all physical systems. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi went further. He developed an advanced program called TM City program, where he has proven that if only the square root of 1% of people do this program together twice a day, it will create the same order. So when we are looking towards creating a peaceful world, people who are spiritually evolved and a world of unity consciousness, we have to take in consideration full unfoldment of the full potential of the individual, both on the outside and the inside. And the way to do that is, first, primary thing, water the root of your life. Learn to meditate and to connect with that field within yourself. And when you have done that, then now apply the sciences, the medical sciences, the Ayurveda, the traditional Chinese, the energy, all the other techniques that are there to help develop and unfold you as an individual. So that's the second thing you need to do. You have to look at your diet and your exercise and things like this. And third, we need to really pay attention to our emotional health, because the basis of our emotion is our belief system and the values we hold in life. Time doesn't allow to go into all those in detail, but it's good to know that if we want to grow spiritually, if we want to create a world of unity, then we have to take a serious look at what we believe about our world, what we believe about ourselves. We have to see ourselves as divine beings, not just as physical beings. And when we do so, then we start the journey of unfolding the qualities of who we are within ourselves. So I'm happy to be part of this forum and to be here to share with so many illustrious souls from all around the world. We are all part and parcel of the universal laws of nature, and all of us bring the fruits of our knowledge to bear and to make this world a better place. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and blessings and greetings to everyone. Thank you.